gang. Let's find trigonometric ratios given a right triangle. A right triangle means you have a triangle with a 90-degree angle. Across from the 90-degree angle is the hypotenuse. You have to look to where the angle's placed because the angle determines who's opposite and who's adjacent. So if the angle is here, the opposite is across from the angle, and the adjacent side always touches the angle. So if the angle was here instead, then this would be the adjacent side and this would be the opposite if the angle was here. So what you call the opposite and what you call the adjacent depends on the position of where the angle is. Okay, so here's a mnemonic to remember what trig goes with what sides. So SOHCAHTOA. So sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. All right, so we're going to use this triangle to evaluate these six trig functions on this upcoming test. They're only going to ask you for 3 of these, okay? So make sure you know them all, but you're only going to have to do 3 of them on the test question. So before we get started, we have to find all the sides on the triangle. So right now we're missing the hypotenuse. So you'll be given 2 sides of the triangle. Since it's a right triangle, to find the 3rd side, you just need to do use the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem is leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So I have a 2 and a 5. And I'm going to solve for that hypotenuse. We don't put a plus or minus because we're dealing with a magnitude. Okay, so we got radical 29 as the hypotenuse. Okay, so when you do this question on the test, you find your missing side using the Pythagorean theorem, and then you fill in whatever 2 sides they want. So if they ask you for the sine, that's the opposite over the hypotenuse. Okay, you can use the mnemonic. We discussed that. So the opposite is 5 over radical 29. I'm good with that. If you rationalize, it's 5 radical 29 over 29, but I'm fine with that. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent over the hypotenuse, that's 2 over radical 29. If you rationalize that, that's 2 radical 29 over 29. Okay, your tangent, that is your opposite over your adjacent. So your opposite over your adjacent, that's 5 over 2. Your cotangent, which is your reciprocal of your tangent, that is going to be your adjacent over your opposite. So that's 2 over 5. Cosecant, that's the reciprocal of sine. That's going to be your hypotenuse over your opposite. That's an H, by the way. Hypotenuse over your opposite, so radical 29 over 5. Okay, so again, this one is the reciprocal of this one, sine. Secant, that is the reciprocal of cosine. That's going to be your hypotenuse over your adjacent. Hypotenuse is radical 29. Adjacent is 2. Okay, gang, so like I said earlier, you're going to have to do 3 of these 6. And you'll be good on this question. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you in another one. Bye-bye.